All right, so you've just been handed the assignment for a formal research proposal. And I know, it can look a little intimidating. But trust me, it's the most important first step you'll take toward your final paper. In this explainer, we're going to break it all down, piece by piece, so you can build something you're really proud of.
When you first look at those guidelines, it can feel like a whole lot to take in, right? There are multiple parts, a ton of specific questions, formatting rules. It's really easy to get overwhelmed. But our goal here is to turn all that confusion into a super clear, actionable plan.
I want you to think of this proposal not as just another assignment to check off a list. Think of it as the blueprint for your final research paper. You know, a good blueprint makes the whole building process way smoother, and the final structure is just so much stronger. And that's exactly what we're going to build together, step by step.
So, here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll talk about the goal of this thing. Then, we'll tackle part 1, the intro and the all-important thesis. After that, we'll dive deep into the core research sections. We'll follow that up with part 5 on persuasion, and finally, we'll cover the submission and grading so you know exactly what to expect.
Before we get into all the nuts and bolts, let's start with the why. Seriously, understanding the purpose of this proposal is the absolute key to doing it well. This isn't just busy work, it's the foundation of your entire project.
At its core, this proposal is really a strategic tool for you. It forces you to get your plan down on paper, to really clarify your main argument, and to think critically about your methods before you're knee-deep in writing the final paper. And remember this, a strong proposal almost always leads to a stronger final paper.
Okay, part 1, the introduction. If your proposal is the blueprint, then your thesis statement, well, that's the architectural centerpiece. It is, without a doubt, the single most important part of this whole document, and it sets the stage for everything that comes after.
Now, before you unveil that amazing thesis, you need to set the scene a little bit. Briefly introduce your topic, give just enough background info, pose the central question your research is going to answer, and, this is crucial, explain why this topic actually matters.
And now for the main event. Your thesis needs these 4 parts. First, you state the problem and what's at stake. Second, you propose your solution, backed by research, of course. Third, you get specific about the population this affects. And fourth, and this is what separates the good from the great, you engage with a counter-argument. Acknowledging an opposing view and then explaining why your position is stronger doesn't weaken your thesis. No way. It makes it absolutely bulletproof. Nail these 4 steps, and you've got a killer thesis.
Moving on, we're going to group parts 2, 3, and 4 together, because they're basically the engine room of your proposal. This is where you document your whole intellectual journey and show your professor all the hard work you've been putting in. So in part 2, you're placing your work into the bigger academic conversation. You need to answer a few questions. How is my argument adding something new? What kind of impact could it have? And who are the key people or groups with a real-world stake in this issue? This whole section is about proving your research is relevant. Part 3 is pretty much your research logbook. You've got to document which databases were the most helpful and, importantly, why. Show the variety of your sources. Are you using more than just one type? Explain your organizational system. And this is a big one, describe how you checked each source to make sure it was credible and up to date.
Part 4 is all about reflection. Explain how your initial research helped you narrow your topic from something broad to something really specific. Who is the precise population you're studying? What are the core pieces of evidence you're leaning on? And if you're doing interviews, you have to explain how you'll avoid confirmation bias. You know, that tendency we all have to only look for answers that confirm what we already believe.
Okay, you've documented all your research. Now it's time to switch gears a bit and think like a marketer. Part 5 is all about your persuasive strategy. See, it's not enough to just be right. You have to make your audience actually care about what you have to say. Think of this section as your pitch. You need to answer these questions head on. Why should a busy person stop what they're doing and listen to you? Who, specifically, are you trying to reach? And what strategies are you going to use to make the topic compelling and engaging, even for someone who starts out totally indifferent?
The assignment asks a fantastic question. Are you trying to convince or persuade? And this slide shows the difference perfectly. Convincing relies on pure logic, facts, data, hard evidence. You're appealing to the head. Persuading uses all of that, but it also appeals to emotion, values, and beliefs. That's appealing to the heart, too. You need to be aware of which approach you're taking and explain why.
We are almost there. We're in the home stretch. You've built the blueprint.
Now it's time for that final polish that makes sure all your hard work gets the recognition and, the grade it deserves. Don't stumble right at the finish line.
This is your professional polished checklist. Every single item here, the font, the margins, the MLA formatting, the works cited page, these are all easy points to get. Just follow these rules exactly. A clean, professional-looking document immediately signals to your professor that you are a serious and careful scholar. And that professional polish really, really matters. I mean, look at this grading breakdown. Your thesis, your research, your organization, your persuasion, and even your formatting are all weighted equally. They're each worth 20%. This means you absolutely cannot afford to neglect any single section of this blueprint. Every single part counts just as much as the others.
So as you get to work, just remember this. What you're creating here is so much more than just another paper to turn in. It's really a tool for your own success.
It is the solid foundation, that carefully drawn blueprint from which your final, amazing research paper is going to be built. All the effort you put in right now is going to pay off tenfold later on, I promise.
You have the plan, you've got the tools, and you understand the structure. You are now perfectly equipped to totally nail this. So the only question left is, are you ready to start building?